Hi, everyone. Scott and Matty here,
Hello.
and welcome to Queer as Pop. That was really deep. The podcast where we discuss all things queer and how they intersect with pop culture, politics, and top headlines. How are you doing today, Matty?
Well, apparently I'm very deep, which you should know everything about. But
I mean,
uh,
I don't want to lay claim to things I'm not allowed to talk about, but you know.
all right, all right. Well, I'm doing great. We got a slightly different type of episode today because, just like I mentioned a few weeks ago, we were dealing with some visual changes for our podcast, and today we actually decided to invite this immensely talented individual. He is a graphics designer by day, professional drag queen by night, and a very dear friend. And that is Marge Mellow.
Hi, hi. Thank you for bringing me in.
Welcome in. Welcome in.
How do you
Yes.
feel?
Excited, a little bit nervous. Don't know why, but yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
You should be
Well,
nervous.
yeah, don't listen to Maddie. We're not here to make you feel nervous at all, and to help kind of break through just that tiny little bit of nervousness, just like all of our other lovely guests,
Hmm.
we're going to ask you a nice little icebreaker question. So, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. So the question is, what are the most important preparations you feel you need to do before you get into drag?
Hmm. So, it really depends on the situation. So where I'm going to do drag, what's the scenario? But well, to me, because of my drag persona, I need to shave. I need to face the fact that I have to shave because I don't like to. Um, and then it's just make sure that I have everything at hand because I hate stopping every 5 minutes to grab a specific product that I forgot. When it comes to like approaching it mentally, I don't feel the need to have a specific preparation. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. So it sounds like you like to have everything neatly organized before you fully get started, and then you just go and you're fully immersed.
uh, yeah, kind of. I like it's not even it doesn't need to be fully organized, but just to have everything at close hand. It's more that.
I'm gonna tell
Nice.
you a secret, Marge. I don't like shaving either, but I don't really have a choice.
I don't believe that's a secret.
Yeah, I agree
Wow.
with Marge here. I don't think that that's too much of a secret. I mean, if anyone's seen your social media, I think that there's an appreciation for maybe some lack of shaving.
All
Hmm.
right. Well, okay. I'm not gonna respond to that. But I was. I was going to ask you, Marge. You work as a graphic designer by day. How did your interest for digital art develop, and was it something you always wanted to do?
So, I cannot pinpoint when it started exactly. Like I've always loved drawing, and just by growing up and getting in touch with the new technology and learning more about different media where you can explore different types of art, I think it made me arrive to where I am today. So in a way I can tell you that it's not about if I always wanted to do this, but more I knew that this is what I would do anyways, because I believe that I will always gravitate towards the artistic aspect of everything in life, if that makes sense.
And has it always been like that since you were a kid?
Yeah, I believe so. I think the only time where I was really split into two different paths were was when I couldn't decide if I should go for arts or for the science path to become a vet, which is another passion that I had and I thought about pursuing.
Yeah, because I know you have a huge passion for animals
Hmm.
and even insects for some weird reason, but I'll tolerate it.
It's not weird if you can take if you can take out the gross part that usually people feel about bugs, and you can like analyze how they are made, and they are beautiful creatures. Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about something else as well, because we actually had this discussion a little bit privately as well.
Hmm.
Because I don't know if you've followed up with this, but a lot of drag queens have recently started to come out as non-binary, and it's become very clear over time that artists have very different perceptions and interpretations on what their drag persona represents. For some, it's an extension of their femininity, and for
Hmm.
others, drag symbolizes strength to gain confidence to do and achieve things in life you wouldn't normally do. What is your interpretation? Who is Marge to you?
Let's put it this way. I believe that drag is a journey, and every single step counts for the long term, because you can choose to have a more conscious approach to your drag depending on how and why you do it. And I believe that for the majority of drag artists, they start doing it out of need for a better way to express themselves. Some people might just do it because it's fun, because it's trendy, something like that. Uh, Others start doing it without a specific reason and find themselves on a self-discovery moment. On my case, I started doing drag by accident, literally, because I was aware of drag. I enjoyed watching this art form that is so complex and complete, uh, but I never actually thought about doing it myself. It was only when I applied for a job as a dancer, I got the job, and 1 week or two before the official first day of work, I received the following text message. By the way, you need to be in drag. And I just said yes and went with it. And this is just a little, a little background to show you that I didn't start drag with that emotional baggage or like a full intent when it comes to drag. But I can tell you that I've looked to drag in so many different ways already, and I've been doing this for 3 years and a half now, which is, depending on how you look at it, it's not a long time. But I remember that I didn't even feel comfortable uh, at the beginning saying that I was a drag queen, and instead I would say that I was just doing drag, which is very different. My intentions when I say both things were very different, and I just looked at it like I had a job that required me to be in drag, and that was it. Eventually, I shifted to a point where I started to own it. And I do know that this might be shocking for some people, but being a drag artist, it's a profession as valid as any other. So if I say that I am a designer, then I am also a drag queen. That was the big change when it comes to me approaching what it is to be a drag queen and me doing slash being a drag queen. Um, and I always come, and this is the part that we started talking about a few days ago, but and we stopped ourselves to leave it for the the podcast. Is that I love to mention a specific conversation that I had with a friend that also does drag, and just out of curiosity, they actually came out as a trans very recently. But yeah, we were talking about this topic, and they mentioned the fact that it is very common for a drag queen to say something like, my drag persona is my feminine side. And obviously there is nothing wrong with this argument, but then they proceed to give their take on the matter. And they went with something like, it's not my feminine side, it's the woman that I am. It's the woman that I also am. And I don't I cannot pinpoint exactly why, but the that statement sticked with me till this day, because my my take when it comes to drag and gender identification is in a way not conclusive at all. And to me, that's the beauty of it, because why do we have to reach out for a conclusion every single time? I do believe, and this is when I try to be cheesy to look pretty for the podcast, because we can we can all hop on this colorful train and enjoy the ride without knowing exactly where the last stop is. That's how I see it, and not only drag but life in general. Um, and yeah, just to be clear and answering the question. So yeah, fun fact about me: I do I'll go around the world to talk about everything, and then I'll answer a simple question that you asked. So sorry for that. uh, but I, at the end of the day, I identify as male, and that's why I also don't have any sexual relation to my drag persona. Uh, but I do believe that both realities can exist at the same time. So one reality being me identifying as male, and that's it. It's pretty simple. But things are not always so linear. And yes, like Marge is the woman that I have in me. But it doesn't mean that I am that I identify as non-binary or that I want to be a woman. It's just I believe it's not simple, and in the best way possible. It's not simple, whether if you do drag or not. It's not simple, and thank God it's not simple.
How do you incorporate your aesthetics from that you learned as graphic designers into Marge? What are the things that you look at when you develop the visual aspect of Marge?
I like to talk about, if I have to explain how Marge appears, how how she expresses herself visually. I try to make like some sort of metaphor to a painting or any other creation, because at the end of the day, Marge is my creation, and because she's my creation, she is part of me, and I just the same way that I cannot tell you exactly why I decided to paint or do a certain drawing in a certain way. Marge just express and exists on her own through my inspirations and my taste. Um, so yeah, a lot of 80s and 90s pop culture that sometimes even it might not be super clear to whoever's watching, but in my head I know where does it come from. So yeah, I'm not being super uh, explicit, not explicit, ooh, not that, but yeah, I don't know, like I don't know if I'm answering what
I
you
think you
asked.
do. Basically, Marge draws a lot of inspiration from the good old days, the 80s and 90s, at her core.
So so I want to hop in here and sort of both do a little bit of gushing and then also ask you a question very much related to I think what we're getting at here, which is your drag aesthetic. So it's clear if anyone's been to any of your performances, whether they're on your Twitch channel or have seen some of your recorded material, like your recent video that you posted on Instagram called Wave.
Hmm.
I mean, it's like very, very obvious that you are incredibly talented. Your aesthetic, your commitment to a powerful delivery, it's clean, it's crisp. You just really obviously put a lot of thought, time, and energy into this, and it's so impressive. And it's such a wonderful thing as a content consumer to watch and be able to enjoy. So, with that in mind, how do you feel like in this bubble of online content creation and being able to share yourself on a global stage? We also intrinsically live in our local world as well.
Hmm.
So, you live in Portugal. Like, how do you feel like you relate to your local drag scene that exists in Portugal, and sort of what you see and what you've experienced in other countries and sort of just in the world all over.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Um, so I hope, first of all, I hope nothing that I say regarding this topic comes off as me being bitter about it, which who knows? I probably am a little bit. But because I cannot tell you the difference exactly, because I've never seen or experienced what it is to be in another country as a drag queen, or I've never experienced another drag scene outside of Portugal, except for what we can consume via internet. um, I do can tell you that from what it is available for everyone to see, Portugal has insane talent. That is, and not just Portugal, but it is my reality. So that it's we do have a lot of talent that is by default toned down or completely missed slash ignored due to the fact that it comes from Portugal. I don't know if you understand. So it's not about the country. It's not about me or any other drag queen being Portuguese. It's about not coming from the US. It's about not being by default mainstream. And don't get me wrong, like I know that if a Portuguese drag artist makes something incredible, people will talk about it. People will address it, obviously. But the difference here is that it is what's the word? It is so ephemeral. Am I pronouncing this correctly?
You
Okay,
got it spot
uh,
on.
because it is so short lived. Like I think it is fair to say that we are kind of destined not to receive as much clout as we should. And when I say we, I mean people that are not. I'm obviously speaking about specifically the drag scene. Um, if you're not in the US, it you are destined to have like a short-lived success, and you have a lot of examples. And actually, like it's so the thing is, I'm not asking for people to give us pats in the back. We usually, most of us, know our worth. It's just I'm just pointing out the fact that sometimes it is sad to see how easy it is for people to not consider what you do with the same seriousness or interest just because of the place that you come from. And not to be shady, but it is super clear to see this phenomenon on Twitch. So yeah.
So okay, okay. So I'm really glad then that you bring up both the discrepancy and sort of perception of where one's from, and relating it and linking it to a platform like Twitch, because like Twitch is its own beast, and for better or for worse, it is clearly a great place for people to meet that have similar interests and similar goals, and it's really great at community building. But I would love to know a little bit more about your personal experience as a streamer on Twitch. Like what have you learned? What have you gained from it? What do you hope to see from it? And like what sorts of engagement really kind of stimulate you and help you feel like you're creating an impact, and it's reciprocity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So for the longest time, I even before I was doing drag, uh, I wanted to create something. I had no idea what that would be, but I wanted to create something to share my appreciation and love for video games in general. And I started making all of the graphics, like the animations for intro, outro, like a logo, everything for what at the time would be my YouTube channel, where I had planned to make like game reviews, gameplay footage. I wasn't even aware of Twitch. It already existed, but I wasn't aware of it. Then eventually I left it on standby for so long because I was afraid to start the channel. because I always thought that nobody would watch it, and so if there was nobody watching it, why would I do it? Which is, by the way, a very not healthy way of looking into things. Um, that is, if you start to do something just waiting on something on the other side, you have to do things for you in the first place. But yeah, staying on topic, I then started doing drag, and it it's very easy to see that it's a good combo. It works well, and so I adapted all the graphics that I made for the YouTube channel to portray a channel that would combine drag and video games. And at the time, I thought I was discovering fire. Because again, I wasn't aware of Twitch, I wasn't aware of anything, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the first person to do this. Turns out, no, uh, it's quite the opposite. But when I started Twitch, what made me what motivated me to actually become a streamer and stay on Twitch was different. I'm not gonna name names, if you want to, I can. But I it was a few people that I really enjoyed watching while they were streaming, that just made me feel good. And I do like to think that one of the traits that most define me is that I am kind. My kindness speaks volumes. It is genuine. It's not forced, and that's why it feels weird to point this out. But I do believe that's one of the things that most define me. And I obviously look at it and thought, I I will be very happy, and it will make me very happy if I can be another person to provide a safe space and a good environment for people to hang around and feel safe and just have a good time. That's what motivated me to be a streamer. So it wasn't exactly drag or video games, but more like the human part of it. Even though I don't see I don't see people there, I just see a chat. I don't see faces. That's what I mean. But it's the human part that drove me to actually give it a serious try. And sorry, again, I'm taking huge turns on this, and yeah, that's what motivated me to be a streamer. I do believe that Twitch is really, you can do so much with it when it comes to drag and what can you explore. um so yeah, I'm getting lost on the question. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. So, I mean, it sounds like you have, your journey for how you discovered Twitch and sort of what you were looking to get from it, and what you wanted to do, which is clearly to create a safe space for a community of people that you want to care about and that you do care about. So I can genuinely appreciate that as well. I definitely, in my own rights, as a Twitch streamer too, take a very similar approach. It's about the communities that you create and the mindfulness of the energy you put out and how that's received by others. That can really mean a lot, and it's bi-directional. You get back what you put out there, and I know for me, it's incredibly cathartic to know that when I'm having maybe a tough day, there's a host of people that I know I can lean on and spend time with, even if I'm, again, to your point, not seeing them face to face. But there's meaningfulness there
Hmm.
because they're people that you know and that they know you, and it feels comfortable. It just feels warm and cozy.
But like, can I make a question, or should I just answer questions?
Sure,
Okay,
no, you can do whatever you want.
okay. But so my question to you is, did you approach Twitch from the beginning with that in mind? As in, was your goal to create a community, to create a safe space, to have that as your goal?
Um, that's a great question. And I don't think in my mind when I started, because for the longest time, I was more of a voyeur. I was absolutely participating on the platform of Twitch, but as a watcher of streams versus ever being a real streamer myself. And I think when I started streaming, it was not necessarily with the intentionality of creating a specifically a safe space. I think it just organically came from the fact of how I tend to approach how I interact with people. And then beyond that, I definitely prioritize and appreciate that, issues like mental health are often not talked about, especially, for, a content creator where they're trying to put on a persona of I'm always happy, everything's always great, when behind the scenes that couldn't be further from the truth. And so the idea then organically came from this persistent nagging thought I had in my head of, why aren't we talking about, our mental health challenges more often? Because we help normalize that conversation for other people to have, both in the stream but also in other parts of their lives. And so I think it just sort of is slowly ramped up to where it is now for at least my stream, that I genuinely appreciate, but certainly had no designs to create from the get go when I first started streaming.
Yeah, yeah. Like I do believe. I hope this doesn't come off as something very bad, but I do believe that like 90% of people who approach Twitch, because at the core of it, if you think of the action of okay, I'm going to become a streamer. Uh, Being a streamer puts you on it. I don't want to say pedestal, but you'll get what I'm saying. Uh, Being You decide that you will become a streamer, it gives you an advantage towards a group of people that will be there. If they appear, they will be there, and they are in a disadvantage to you in some sort of way. They are under you, because you have the video, you have the power of video and sound, and they just can they are only allowed to type. And I don't know if people are aware of how unbalanced this makes, how unbalanced this relationship is by default because of this. But it's fine. It's not in a bad way that it is unbalanced. But this just goes to say that I do believe that it's a very me moment when someone decides to okay, I will try to stream. I'm going to become a streamer. And that's why I asked if you had uh, already in mind to, like, if it was your goal to just stream to be there for other people. And because I do believe it usually doesn't start that way, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I perfectly understand where you're coming from and your insight. I think that, for me personally, and I know this is different for a lot of different people, but I'm naturally more of an extrovert. So putting myself out there on a video feed and talking to strangers was never part of what the challenge was for me, at least. I I just was looking for connection over shared interests. That I think really was the initial sort of what pushed me forward to get started with it versus anything else, because that piece of putting yourself out there that I think can be a deterrent for a lot of folks just didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 I agree. And basically, yeah, that's my how I see Twitch, what motivated me. And when it comes to doing like the a comparison of what I'm used to do as a drag queen on like a performance, like a live performance scenario, which is what I do, uh, versus Twitch. I've learned my drag grew already, has grown a lot because of Twitch, on every single aspect. So but especially visually, if on one hand I am allowed to slack off a little bit and just worry about waist up looks, and I can have like a full princess fantasy waist up and I'm on my pajamas waist down, uh, at the same time my makeup improved a lot, because all of a sudden I have all the time that I want to. I'm in front of a camera. I'm at my place uh, with no schedule to obey, and that was an interesting shift for me, and changing the media where you work at, like you changing your platform. It really it if you approach it in a healthy way, it can do wonders for you, whether if it's drag or anything, any art form. But yeah.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for evolve, and clearly you've experienced that, and I can tell from my own perception that I can see that you care a lot about your own community and what your purpose with Twitch is, which is very honest and very admirable. So I love that about you totally. So I was thinking that before we go over to and expose you to our lightning round of fun questions, do you want to plug something for our listeners before we start?
Um, Besides my Twitch channel, I don't see anything that I can plug in. Like it's me. I'm here at the moment. I'm available to you guys on Twitch, and you make your own interpretation of this sentence that came out really wrong. But yeah, um, I'm here for you on Twitch. And it's that it's not only about video gaming, it's not only about drag, and it's especially not about myself only. Yeah.
All right, so let's go over to the first question. Marge, are you ready?
I hope so.
All right. So the first question is, what cheers you up?
Food.
It's that simple. I mean, I can relate. I can totally
I
relate.
like how there was not a single moment of like hesitation there. It was just like
No,
spot on
no.
food.
Yes, and it's I don't know if you guys relate, but it's special, and there's no other way to address it. Food is the path to my heart. Yes. But besides food, animals cheer me up. Seeing people feeling safe and happy cheers me up. Obviously, this is the typical miscongeniality answer, but yeah, it's very that. Summer cheers me up. Yeah.
All right, next question. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? And this is outside of drag and your graphic design career.
So I already mentioned that I had a passion to become a vet. Uh, Besides that, I actually didn't think of this. I would love to. Geez, I don't know.
Become a Viking.
Is oh you were okay. I was going to say, can is mermaid an available option? Can I be a mermaid?
I'm sure you can be a
Absolutely.
mermaid. Absolutely. I
Okay.
I
think they
mean,
take.
I'm sure some fantasy island is looking to hire mermaids for people just to observe and enjoy. So I'm sure that
See,
can be a profession for you.
Yeah.
then that is my answer. I want to be a mermaid.
All right, a mermaid. I'm sure. I'm sure Denmark is taking applications at this very moment. And my another question here: what turns you on? And this one is from
Oh,
me and Scott.
okay. Okay.
Curious minds.
What turns you on from me and Scott? Well, you and Scott. No.
Just kidding.
Okay, so what turns me on? Well, usually, besides the typical whatever my type of man is. Yes, I'm gay, by the way. You didn't ask me that, but shocking, I'm gay. So besides that, it for how much cliche this sounds, intelligence turns me on. People that are aware of themselves turn me on. Um, Food turns me on. Again, food.
I love that.
Um, yeah, yeah. I think we're we're good for now.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, okay, so then I have a few questions for you as well.
Hmm.
So here's a straightforward one for you. Are you a morning or a night person?
I'm Nova and Molly, which is a really, really dear friend of mine. Molly and Nova can confirm this. I'm a no sleep person, so either morning or night, it's fine for me.
Okay, so there's just no time for you that's bad per se. You're just going to be active and available anytime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I just need to, as long as I can, every now and then, like every 3 months, take a half an hour nap. It's fine.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm now feeling bad about how much I do sleep now. Okay, so okay. Next question is like, let's imagine you are an Instagram influencer and you have just all the followers you could ever hope to possibly have. You're
Hmm.
basically Kylie Jenner here. Now
Oof.
you're getting people throwing sponsorship deals at you left and right. What would be the one product you would refuse to promote, even if they were paying you great sums of money?
Ooh, that I refuse to promote.
Yeah.
Um, okay. I think that the easy answer is, which is true, by the way. I would, f- even if I was offered a lot of money, it had to be like a product that goes against, like truly goes against what I believe in. So any product that is uh, that has a racist person, an homophobic person behind it, or that the company showcases those values, and yeah, I couldn't do it.
Understandable. I can appreciate that. I
Mm.
yeah, that's really sweet of you. Okay, so last but certainly not least, tell us what right now is your favorite song?
Okay, right now being the keywords here, because it's a question. Fun fact: I cannot answer this question. I cannot tell you what's my favorite movie, what's my favorite song, what's my favorite book. No, I cannot do that. It's too much commitment for me. But right now, maybe. Well, I have a soft spot for Nicole Scherzinger, and React by Pussycat Dolls will be an anthem for me always. And Physical by Dua Lipa.
Nice. Nice, nice. I love
Hmm.
those. Good work.
All right, Marge. I want to thank you so much for joining us on this journey, and I'm happy that the listeners can get to know you a little bit as well, and knows who is actually taking care of me and Scott behind the scenes, and who is visually presenting us all over this podcast universe. So thank you so much for all the work you do for us, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me. I did mention this to you. It's I had the fear of what am I, what will I talk about? Like is it worth the time? So thank you for seeing that or believing that I'm worth a podcast episode. And thank you for doing this podcast actually, and that's why I wanted to be a part of it, and to give my best contribute to it, because we do need more initiatives like this. So thank you for being two beautiful souls.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank
No
you.
worries. Thank you so much, Marge.
Thank you.